So far, so good? Any questions so far? Does anyone have a question or an addition? All right, so if there are no inquiries, let's proceed. So now that we know what applied linguistics is, we need to define its nature. What's its nature? And we already have an idea about this from the definition. So we said that applied linguistics is both theoretical and empirical. By being theoretical, it simply means that it aims to build a theory. Okay? A theory is a set of assumptions about an issue, a set of assumptions, a set of beliefs about an issue. That's a theory. Not all applied linguists agree with this, but those who claim that it is theoretical, they gave some theories. They gave examples of theories that were produced by applied linguists. So they claim that methods of language teaching methods are in fact theories that are produced by applied linguists. The second example is, of course, theories of second language acquisition. So these are examples of theoretical products, if you like, or of applied linguistics. It's empirical, meaning that it aims to solve a problem. It doesn't aim to build a theory, but to solve a practical problem. Now, for this course, okay, since we're just introducing ourselves to applied linguistics, let's not get into the small details of the debate. Let's just hold to this idea that applied linguistics is theoretical and empirical. And of course, in advanced courses, other discussions could be raised. Applied linguistics is interdisciplinary. This is important. Interdisciplinary meaning that it coexists with other disciplines. It needs other disciplines. It uses concepts, theories, and concepts, theories from other disciplines. So that's what we mean by interdisciplinary. It intersects with other disciplines. It has shared interests with other disciplines. And these interests, as I said, are the issues that it discusses, okay, are shared with other disciplines. There are many issues that applied linguists research that are researched in other fields. Example, applied linguists are interested in language, but they are not the only ones interested in language. Linguists are interested in language. Psychologists are interested in language. Educationalists are interested in language. Sociologists are interested in language. Anthropologists are also interested in language. See? So applied linguistics is in a state of interdisciplinarity with all these fields. Why? Because they are all interested in the same issue, which is language. Interdisciplinarity also means that applied linguistics share terminology with other fields. Many of the terms that are used in applied linguistics are also used in other fields, okay, namely those which I mentioned before. Any questions? Someone's trying to say something? You can interrupt me at any time. Don't mind. So, applied linguistics also share terminology. And by the way, one of the elements which distinguish one field or discipline from another is, of course, terminology, the terms used. Medicine has its own terminology that no one knows except practitioners and students of the field. And if you want to know the meaning of a medical term, you should check a medical dictionary or a dictionary of medical terms. Literary criticism has its own terminology. Psychology has its own terminology. Now, all fields have their own terminology, but it so happens that two or more fields may share the same some terms. Now, this is the case with applied linguistics. Okay, it shares the same terms that are used in many other fields, especially linguistics, anthropology, sociology, psychology. Okay, we look into some of these fields. Terms like research, the terms denoting research methods, a case study, participants, an experiment, etc. So these are terms which are used in psychology, sociology, anthropology, and they are also used in applied linguistics. And the third instance of interdisciplinarity is, of course, sharing research methods. So applied linguistics and the fields I mentioned before share or use the same research methods. In applied linguistics, we can use case studies. In anthropology and sociology, they use case studies. In applied linguistics, we could use observation or observation. It could be participant observation, non-participant observation, etc. It's also used in other fields. In applied linguistics, we can use content analysis, and it's used in other fields. So that's what we mean by interdisciplinarity. Applied linguistics intersects, coexists, shares a number of elements, namely the terminology, the research methods, and issues with other disciplines. The third characteristic of applied linguistics is that applied linguistics has become lately philosophical and ideological. Now, as we'll see from its history, when it first appeared, it didn't have any philosophical or ideological underpinning. But lately, especially the second, right after the 60s, around the 60s, applied linguists start to relate phenomena, especially language-related phenomena, to social context. They try to explain the phenomena related to language to social context. That's what we mean by philosophical and ideological. And of course, this gave rise to the new branch of applied linguistics, well, relatively new, which is critical applied linguistics. Critical applied linguistics. It's the area or the branch of applied linguistics which links issues or tries to solve issues in relation to social context. And of course, the proponents, or if you like, the one of the main figures of this branch is Alistair Winnicott. So to summarize this section, applied linguistics is theoretical and empirical, meaning it aims to build a theory, and it is practical, it aims to solve a problem. It is interdisciplinary because it coexists and it needs other disciplines, and it has become philosophical and ideological since it tries to link language-related phenomena to social context. If there's no question here or addition, I'd like to move to the next section, which is this idea of interdisciplinarity. Right? So we said that interdisciplinarity is the fact that applied linguistics coexists or intersects with other disciplines, namely linguistics. we will have a section on the relationship between linguistics and applied linguistics. But for the time being, let me just tell you that uh, when applied linguistics first appeared, it was somehow a branch of linguistics, to the extent that at that time in its beginning, especially in the US, um, many prefer to call it linguistics applied. Why? Because most of what is of the theories applied were theories of linguistics, descriptions of language. So that's why applied linguistics and intersects with linguistics. And even more than that, in the past, in its beginning, only linguists, we'll talk about this later, only linguists can become applied linguists. Applied linguistics also intersects with anthropology. Anthropology is an autonomous discipline interested in the analysis and the study of the human being. It has sub-branches, so physical anthropology, which is interested in the analysis of the remains of the human beings, like fossils, like bones, like artifacts. So branches like archaeology is a sub-branch of anthropology. And the second big branch is, of course, cultural, or some call it social anthropology. Social anthropology is interested in the study of the culture of the human beings. And one of its sub-branches is, of course, linguistic anthropology. Okay? Linguistic anthropology. And it is interested also in the study of language, language acquisition, language in its social context, etc. But from an anthropological standpoint, of course. And so, applied linguistics and anthropology share a number of things, namely research methods. Now, one of the main research methods that applied linguists borrow from anthropologists is, of course, ethnography. Okay, ethnography, the research method that is based on uh, living with the subjects that you study. If you want to study uh, the language of a tribe, what you do actually is you live with the people of this tribe for a period of time to study their language or even their social relations or their cultural exchanges. So applied linguists borrowed this research method from anthropologists. Education is another field that intersects and that shares a lot with applied linguistics. Education, of course, is the field that is interested in teaching and learning, in facilitating teaching and learning. So, applied linguistics provide a lot for education. We'll talk about this in detail in the coming chapters. But for a brief overview, applied linguistics provide the language teaching methods that teachers use in the classroom. They also provide the techniques and methods for assessment, for designing assessment. It also provides the theoretical foundation for language teacher education, meaning the teachers are trained, especially language teachers, okay, let me be specific, language teachers are trained according to principles set in applied linguistics. And last but not least, it provides uh, procedures and methods for designing a language curriculum. So we'll talk about the language curriculum in the last chapter. So these are some examples of what applied linguistics provide for education. And of course, in exchange, education is the field where many applied linguists do research, okay, solving classroom uh, problems which might arise in a classroom. That's the area where many applied linguists